Over the past few years, Jared Goff has been one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the NFL. And normally that would be a positive thing to say about any athlete in any sport at any level. But in Goff's case, I think it is the direct cause of his collapse.
A minute and a half to go. Quarter number 3. Seam throw. Woods. Touchdown. They fake it to Gurley. They throw it to Kupp. Down the sideline. Touchdown. Goff back in the end zone. Touchdown.
Now, coming out of college, Goff was given kind of this poster child treatment going into the NFL draft, being tall, super productive, NFL arm, maneuvers the pocket well, accurate, throws well under pressure, all these things that NFL scouts love. And when you're a guy like Goff who has a lot of these desirable traits, I think it's easy for scouts to be like, you know what, we can deal with having a couple of flaws here or there. We'll work on fixing those things. Let's get these traits that we like. And in Jared Goff's case, that is an inability to read a defense at a high level. In particular, he often misdiagnoses cover 2. And to be fair, no one really could have known whether or not Goff would ever improve in that area, but I'll give an FYI, he doesn't. But let's rewind for a second, take a look at Jared Goff's football career kind of at a macro level, starting with high school. As a senior, Jared Goff put up nearly 3,700 passing yards, threw a whopping 40 touchdowns, and ran for 8 more. That's an insane resume, and that's the kind of thing where you're like, okay, this guy's going to come into college and he's going to dominate right away. That didn't happen. As a freshman at Cal, Jared Goff was definitely not the worst college quarterback to ever exist. He wasn't Tate Martell, where it's like, oh, he just never saw the field. But he also wasn't like JT Barrett, where he came in right away and was amazing. And it really is hard to blame Goff for that team being 1-11, especially considering how young they were overall. But when a guy performs at one level and then comes up to the next and isn't quite as good as you expected, it's easy to question yourself. But Sonny Dykes, Cal's coach at the time, has always preached patience with Jared Goff, and this is going to be a common theme with him. And then sure enough, in Jared Goff's sophomore year, or as I like to call it, the Goffmore year, we see a massive jump in production to 35 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, as he led a Cal offense that was ranked 11th in scoring in the nation. And obviously, any kind of jump like that from a freshman to sophomore year is more than enough to get people's attention at the NFL level. However, Cal is kind of notorious for having this air raid style offense that allows quarterbacks to put up insane stats, but often doesn't produce NFL talent. So it really was critical that Jared Goff sustained that level of play into his junior year and proved that it wasn't a fluke. And sure enough, a year later, we get proof that the Goffmore year was no anomaly, that Jared might actually be the real deal. Alright, so we're going to speed up the timeline a little bit. 2016 rolls around. Rams draft Jared Goff first overall, and things are bad. Things are really bad. Goff is horrible. Maybe the worst quarterback in the NFL. You're panicking. You don't know what to do. So, okay, that season's a wash. Let's just skip to 2017. We get Sean McVay as the Rams coach, and things are looking great. The Rams win their division. Goff starts to look salvageable. Maybe he's him. Maybe he's the guy. Okay, now the year is 2018, and things are looking really good. Things are looking so good that we're thinking Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes are about to go throw for the rest of their careers. Everyone kind of in consensus that Jared Goff lived up to the Matt Ryan comp. He'll probably be that guy for years to come. Yes, they lost in the Super Bowl, but you're not too concerned. They'll probably be back. Hey, Rams fans, do you want to talk about 2019? Yeah, I didn't think so. We're just going to skip that. It's not fun when you think you have your franchise QB and then you miss the playoffs. I'm a Browns fan, by the way. I know how you feel. But 2019 to the past, we're in 2020 and things are worse than ever. Jared Goff looks terrible. Yes, the Rams made the playoffs, but it felt like they made it in spite of Jared Goff. It really is crazy. Goff signs this massive franchise QB level contract, and then barring his rookie season, this is the worst he's looked since entering the NFL. And then Rams fans are stuck with the question of how in the world does this happen? Guys don't just get worse, right? You're right. Guys don't get worse. Jared Goff never got worse because he never got better. Remember what I said at the beginning. Over the past few years, Jared Goff has been one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the NFL. And what's crazy is, as impressive as he's been, it's kind of Sean McVay's fault. I mean, when you think about it, since Sean McVay became the head coach of the Rams, what has their offense been based on? The run game, the quick pass, finding easy open windows for Jared Goff to throw into. This whole time, he's just been mitigating. They haven't been actually fixing Jared Goff's issues. And a lot of you may sit here and be like, well, that's just speculation. There's no way the Rams just never tried to fix Jared Goff. but I think it's more real than a lot of people realize. Sean McVay literally said in an ESPN interview, and I quote, "I would say there's a lot of things that when I self-reflect, I certainly wish I was better for him in some instances," end quote. And I don't think Sean McVay would ever come out and say it directly, because why would you? But I do think that's what he's referring to. It's like, man, maybe if in the Goff-more year of his NFL career, I had molded him, sculpted him into a quarterback I could just throw in to any offense, as opposed to just running an offense that only he can run. And there's nothing entirely wrong with what the Rams did. I mean, they went to a Super Bowl with Goff. So again, props to Sean McVay for being able to do that, because not a lot of coaches would be able to do what he did. But when the league starts to realize, man, this Jared Goff guy can only do like a couple of things, we force him to do something a little bit uncomfortable, I think he might just fold. And sure enough, he did. And as someone who was never really a fan of Goff coming out of college, when I look back, I think he probably could have been a pretty good quarterback in the NFL eventually. I mean, you think every NFL draft prospect ever, they all have red flags. Goff was no different. It's just when you mitigate someone their entire career as opposed to actually going in early on through their first 2-3 years and trying to fix their issues, you know, you end up getting Jared Goff.
You okay? I'm fine. Just frustrated.
What's up, everybody? Wanted to thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, why don't you go ahead and drop a like, leave a comment, maybe subscribe if you're new. Here at Stay Hot, we have tons of content coming your way on all platforms. But until then, as always, from Lemon Boy, catch you on the flippity flop.